Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested, Alquist, Ashburn, Calderon, Cedillo, Cogdill, Corbett, Correa, Cox, Denham, DeSaulnier, Ducheney, Dutton, Flores, Hancock, Harmon, Hollingsworth, Huff, Kehoe, Leno, Liu, Lowenthal, Maldonado, Negrete McLeod, Oropesa, Padilla, Pavley, Price, Romero, Runner, Smidian, Steinberg, Strickland, Walters, Wiggins, Wolk, Wright, Weiland, Yee. Mr. President, we are lacking a quorum.
Sergeant of Arms, please bring the absent members to the floor. Senate red. Missed you yesterday.
You're at 20.
Now, Wolk says she's got an SCR 80. I guess it comes down here in special consent.
She wants to take that up?
Yeah.
We're at 20. You can go ahead and start. Get this done.
Right.
Want me to get Senator's name?
Yeah.
Senator Harmon's also requesting a photographer.
Okay.
Without objection.
Okay.
We'll get the members out on the floor. Have a quorum.
Should we go?
Yes, sir. You have a quorum.
Okay. Good morning, members. Senator Harman requests a photographer on the floor. That will be granted unless there is an objection. No objection. President recognizes Senator Simitian from the podium.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the Senate. Please join me in welcoming Archbishop Hovnand Derderian, the primate of the Western Diocese of the Armenian Church of North America, who will lead us in today's prayer. Your Eminence.
Almighty God, we priests and lay leaders of the Armenian Church and community, accompanied by scouts and led by the spirit of the victims of the genocide, we lift up our hearts to praise your name for bestowing upon us the gift of all bounties of the world, but above all blessing us with the gift of life and challenging us to become your good hands in our communities. The world is a city of God, and all of us are called to be the spiritual tools of justice and peace and the illuminators of the human souls. Today we pray especially for the peace of the world and for all those who suffer as victims of injustice, war, and poverty. Each time a gathering is formed in the life of the community, the presence of God is felt immensely. O God, we know well that the honorable members of this Senate have responded to your call to bring their wisdom for the well-being of the Senate of California. Today we give thanks to God for the prayers being offered to the victims of the first genocide of the 20th century, sons and daughters of the Armenian nation who have been martyred for the sake of their faith and for love for their ancestral land. We continue to pray for their souls. For you, as the Lord of justice, bestow upon us the enlightened minds to pursue the recognition of the Armenian genocide. We have remembered the victims of the genocide in our prayers with reverence for the past 95 years. Our prayers will continue to honor their memory, thus not only showing our respect for their martyrdom, but also sending out a clear message to all nations that the gift of life granted to us by God cannot be taken away forcefully or brutally, as was the case of our ancestors, who have experienced the massacres and deportations perpetrated by the Ottoman Empire. The people and the leaders of the United States of America have condemned the genocide from its initial date in 1915. This country has inspired us to cherish the true value of democracy and freedom, as well as the universal respect for humanity as the reflection of God's love. Almighty God, bless our nation and the victorious rebirth of the children of our nation, who today are represented by the presence of our scouts, priests, and lay leaders. And bless this Senate with their members and their mission. Grant them divine wisdom and love to carry on their duties diligently, to uphold firm justice for the past and be the path of justice for all generations to come. Amen.
Eminence, we thank you. And at this point, we turn to the young Homenid men who are here with us in the chambers and ask that they please post the colors.
Senator Simitian is recognized at Senator Steinberg's desk.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, at this time, I'm pleased to introduce Jack Weinstein, who is a native Californian, a Vietnam-era veteran, and a former teacher. But he's here today because he currently serves as the Regional Director of Facing History and Ourselves, an organization that does extraordinarily good work and that strives to bring about greater education on the subject of genocide and human rights. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Weinstein and giving him a listen for just a couple of minutes. I can assure you,
Members, please come to order.
what he has to say is worthy of our time. Jack Weinstein.
Thank you, Mr. President and members and Senator Simitian. Senator Simitian asked me to speak this morning about the topic of genocide briefly. In my role at Facing History and Ourselves, we focus on the historical and contemporary questions raised by the most horrific episodes of history. We teach about the dangers of indifference and the values of civility through the case studies such as race and membership in American history, Holocaust and human behavior, and crimes against humanity and civilization, the genocide of the Armenians. As we commemorate the 95th anniversary of the beginning of the Armenian genocide, as well as the traditional season of Holocaust commemorations here in our own society and around the world, we have a chance to reaffirm in this chamber the importance of an education beyond the 3 R's. The education I believe you seek to promote and that I seek to promote, and that is occasioned by remembrance of this type of history, is an education that honors rethinking, reflecting, and reasoning. It is, of course, about prejudice, discrimination, and scapegoating, but it's also about human dignity, morality, law, and citizenship. Education that leads to the ability to confront moral and ethical questions is crucial to our democracy. We should be filled with revulsion at what happened to Armenians in the deserts of Deir Zor and at what happened to Jews in the death camps in Poland. But I ask that out of this revulsion, we take a cue not to turn away from what we know, but to be inspired and galvanized to prevention. And when prevention is not effective, then to strong responses. And of course, to remembrance. Memory, it may be said, is a final frontier. If the world had been conscious of the genocide that was committed by the Ottoman Turks against the Armenians under cover of World War I, then perhaps humanity would have been more alert to the warning signs that were being given before Nazi madness was unleashed. It took the persistent efforts of a Polish Jewish lawyer named Raphael Lemkin, looking back at what had happened to the Armenians a generation earlier, and at his own family during the midst of the Holocaust, to coin the word genocide in 1944. There was no word to describe such atrocities before that time. It was a crime without a name. Lemkin believed that if one could name the crime, people and governments could develop ways to prevent, respond, and even remember. And moreover, and especially, we focus on prevention. We have not yet brought his dream to fruition, nor our own. I believe education is one sure path to be able to do so. Young people can learn that decisions count, that individuals have choices, and that they have the power to work for a better world. Such is the power of an education that matters. I ask that you commit to genocide awareness, genocide recognition, genocide education, and genocide prevention. And I thank you and all of your colleagues for your good work in the direction of a positive education for the future of our children, our nation, and the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, Senator Lieu and I would like to ask the Senate to join us in welcoming Armenian American visitors who are both here at the rear of our chambers as well as in the gallery. A few of our visitors are going to step forward for a photograph or two, but if you could join me in welcoming the Armenian Americans who have joined us in the chamber today, they would be very much appreciative. There will be a reception in room 211 immediately following this presentation, sponsored by Senator Lieu and myself, as well as by Assembly Members Portantino and De Leon, whom we thank for joining us in this effort today. Room 211, members.
Thank you, Senator Simitian and guests, for that very inspiring program. Reports in committees will be deemed read and amendments adopted. Resolutions, motions, and notices. Without objection, the following resolutions will be withdrawn from committee and placed on today's special consent calendar, SCR 94 and ACR 105. Okay. Without objection, Joint Rule 62A will be suspended to allow Transportation and Housing Committee to meet today and to allow the Labor and Industrial Relations Committee to meet on Monday without 4 days' notice. Senator Cox?
Mr. President, would this be the appropriate time to do an adjourn in memory?
One moment, Senator Cox, please. Without objection on the motion and resolution? Such will be the order. Okay, Senator Cox, you may.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I rise to adjourn in memory of Bruce Michael Bone of Orangevale. Bruce Bone died tragically as a result of a head-on collision with a wrong-way driver on April the 7th in El Dorado County. That driver was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence of alcohol. Bruce was just 41, and he had been married for just 19 days earlier to his wife, Beth. Friends and sports played large roles in his life, and he had a successful career as a manager at Home Depot. Bruce loved his family, and in that respect, his family is connected to our large Senate family. Bruce's mom, Pat Steuben, is one of the highly respected and hardworking DMV staff members who help our offices with constituent memories. Members, Bruce Bone was taken from his family and our community at a far too young age, and certainly he will be missed by many, and I would ask that the Senate adjourn in his memory. I'll bring the name to the desk, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Cox. No. Senator Lowenthal.
Thank you. I would like to join with Senator Cox also in adjourning in the memory of Bruce Michael Bone. I would just like to say that Bruce's mother, Pat Steuben, is known to many of us as the DMV staff person who solved the countless constituent problems that all of us have, and she took tremendous joy in her son and in his recent marriage. And I ask that our thoughts and prayers be with Pat and all of his family at this time.
Thank you, Senator Cox. Senator Hancock.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I rise today to adjourn in memory of Anna Petrus, the truly beloved wife of State Senator Nicholas Petrus, who served for 30 years, pre-term limits, in the California State Senate, and before that for 6 years in the State Assembly. Anna was truly beloved of all people who knew her. She came from a Greek background, as did Nick. They embraced life, history, and politics with great enthusiasm together. She was a loving, vibrant helpmeet by his side and a person who always made you happy when she came into the room. Many of the people here may remember the years in which we would get Christmas cards from the Petruses with one of Anna's Greek recipes, always too complicated for me to cook, but I always cut them out and put them on the refrigerator door in the hopes that I might. What I had the great pleasure of my husband and I of going to China with the Petruses about 25 years ago, in the days when China was first opening up to the West. She was a truly remarkable person in her ability to embrace the world. And she was truly a beloved wife of Nick. He once told my husband that he fell in love again every time he walked in the door of his house, which struck me as one of the more loving things. But a very Nick Petrus thing to say. So she will be sorely missed by him and by everyone who knew her in the 9th Senate District, which was the part of the world that Nick represented. And I believe that other members may also wish to remember her because she was a truly remarkable person. And I hope we will adjourn in memory of her today.
Senator Alquist.
Thank you. I would also rise to honor Anna Petrus' passing and her great life. She was a very strong, independent-minded, joyful woman, the equal of Nick Petrus, our beloved senator, who was the best man in my wedding to the late Senator Al Alquist. And she was of great support to Nick. She did many things in the community, the Greek community. She will be sorely missed. May her memory be eternal.
Thank you. Introductions and first reading of bills. Bills are deemed read. Consideration of daily file. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1128, 1246 with amendments, Senate Bill 1002, Senate Bill 1003, and Senate Bill 837 with amendments.
Thank you. Senate third reading. Item 23 through 46. Senator Flores, item 23. Okay. Senator Leno. Item 24. Clerk will read.
Senate Bill 906 by Senator Leno, enact relating to marriage.
Pass. Okay. Item 25, Senator Corbett. Pass on file. Item 26, Senator Wolk. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 80 by Senator Wolk relative to Lyme Disease Awareness Month.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. SCR 80 will declare May as Lyme Disease Awareness Month. The purpose is to raise awareness about Lyme disease, a serious bacterial infection spread by infected ticks. This disease is often misunderstood, which in turn can cause serious health problems if not caught early and treated vigorously. This resolution is sponsored by the California Lyme Disease Association. I urge an aye vote. Thank you.
Any discussion? Call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Calderon? Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? Aye. Denham? DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Dutton? Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Huff? Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price?
Aye.
Aye. Romero? Runner? I. Smidian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Walters. I. Wiggins. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, aye. Calderon, aye. Dutton, aye. Huff, aye. Mr. President, ayes 33, no 0.
Ayes 33, no 0. That motion is adopted. Resolution is adopted. Item 27, Senator Walk. Item 27. Item 28. Item 29, Senator Hancock. Item 30, Senator Corbett.
Senate Bill 1330 by the Committee on Judiciary, an act relating to the maintenance of the codes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This bill is presented by the Committee on the Judiciary. It is the annual maintenance of the codes bill, which makes numerous technical changes as recommended by the Legislative Counsel's Office. As you all know, this is an annual action to make sure that our codes are free of technical problems and grammatical errors, and these proposed changes do not make any substantive changes to the law. The bill passed out of the Judiciary Committee on consent. I ask for your aye vote.
Any comment or discussion? Seeing none, Secretary, please call the roll.
Onstead. Aye. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Cedillo. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. DeSaulnier. Aye. Ducheney. Dutton. Flores. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price.
Aye.
Aye. Romero. Aye. Runner. Aye. Smidian. Aye. Steinberg. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wiggins. Wolk. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee, aye. Cedillo, aye. Calderon, aye. Wolk, aye.
Call the absences.
Denham. Ducheney. Dutton. Maldonado, aye. Dutton, aye. Steinberg, aye. Wiggins. Mr. President, ayes 36, no 0.
Ayes 36, no zeros. That motion is carried. The measure is passed also. Item 31, Senator Corbett. Item 32, Senator Corbett. Item 33, pass on file. Item 33, Senator Leno. Pass on file. Item 34, Senator Leno.
Senate Bill 1080 by the Committee on Public Safety, an act relating to non-substantive reorganization of deadly weapons statutes.
Mr. President, if you could also read the next item, 35. These are companion bills. I'll take them up together.
Sorry, Mr. Leno. One at a time, please.
One at a time. Very good. Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. Presenting on SB 1080, and the next bill is SB 1115. You may remember that at the direction of the legislature, the Law Revision Commission was tasked with reviewing our gun control laws and reporting back to us with recommendations to make them more user-friendly and readily understandable without changing any of the substance. And I repeat that, without changing any of the substance. So these two bills reflect their recommendations. They have the support of both the Brady campaign and the NRA. There is no opposition. I would ask for your aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Any objection to using unanimous roll call? There is an objection. Call the roll, please.
Onstead. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. DeSaulnier. Aye. Ducheney. Dutton. I. Flores. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. I. Hollingsworth. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. Leno. I. Liu. I. Lowenthal. I. Maldonado. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Oropesa. I. Padilla. Pavley. I. Price.
Aye.
I. Romero. Runner. Smidian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. Walters. I. Wiggins. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, I. Runner, I. May I call the
Call the absentees.
Onnested. Cedillo. I. Denham. Ducheney. Hollingsworth. Padilla. Romero. Strickland. Wiggins.
Ayes 31, no 0. That measure passes. Item 35. Senator Leno. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1115 by the Committee on Public Safety, an act relating to the non-substantive reorganization of deadly weapons statutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this is the companion bill. I ask for your aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Any objection to using the previous roll call? Any objection? Ayes 31, no 0. That measure passes. Item 36. Senator DeSaulnier, item 36. Item pass on file. Item 37, Senator Ashburn. Pass on file. Item 38, Senator Strickland. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 838 by Senator Strickland, an act relating to health care coverage and declaring the urgency thereof to take effect immediately.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, SB 838 conforms the state Cal Cobra law and changes in federal law that extend Cobra premium assistance subsidies to individuals involuntarily terminated from employment from September 1st, 2008 to March 31st, 2010. This bill also accommodates any additional extension premium assistance currently contemplated by Congress. This bill is needed immediately. Any delay with enactment of this bill means that individual otherwise eligible for this premium subsidy may not be aware that of their eligibility. For many individuals, this program is the difference between maintaining coverage and joining the ranks of the uninsured. I ask for your aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Senator Alquist.
Thank you. The federal government identified a new group of people who needed this premium assistance for Cal Cobra. We need to conform at the state level. It's an urgency bill. It's a great bill. I ask for your support.
Any further discussion? You may close.
Ask for your aye vote.
Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested. I. Alquist. I. Ashburn. I. Calderon. I. Cedillo. I. Cogdill. I. Corbett. I. Correa. I. Cox. I. Denham. DeSaulnier. I. Ducheney. Dutton. I. Flores. I. Hancock. I. Harmon. I. Hollingsworth. I. Huff. I. Kehoe. I. Leno. I. Liu. I. Lowenthal. I. Maldonado. I. Negrete McLeod. I. Oropesa. I. Padilla. I. Pavley. I. Price.
Aye.
I. Romero. I. Runner. I. Smidian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Walters. I. Wiggins. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. Yee. Yee, I.
Ayes 35, no 0. On the urgency, Ayes 35, no 0 on the measure, and it passes. Item 39, Senator Runner.
Senate Bill 839 by Senator Runner, an act relating to emergency alerts.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. Senate Bill 839, also known as the Blue Alert, would allow CHP to use the existing statewide Amber Alert notification system when a peace officer has been killed, seriously wounded, or assaulted with a deadly weapon and the suspect has fled the scene. Access to existing emergency notification systems would allow law enforcement officials and broadcasters to quickly send out a blue alert with license plate number or vehicle and suspect description to help find the perpetrator quickly. While we have many crime categories declined in 2009, the murder of peace officers increased by more than 25% nationally. Part of the disturbing trend was of 15 officers killed in just 5 incidences. 4 of those officers were killed in Oakland and 6 in Seattle last year. The Blue Alert response system will use the state-controlled Emergency Digital Information Service System, local digital signs, focused cell phone alerts, and other technology that may be developed, and will also employ the EAS Emergency Alert System in the future when the federal government has established a Blue Alert code. The bill has strong support of law enforcement groups and is sponsored by the Sheriff's Association, the Broadcasters Association, PORAC, ALADS, and the Association of Highway Patrolmen. I'd ask for your aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Any objection to using the previous roll call? The previous unanimous roll call. Ayes 36, no 0. Measure passes. Item 40, Senator Flores. Not at his desk. Yeah. Pass on file. Senator, item 41, Senator Yee. Pass on file. Item 42, Senator Simitian. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1166 by Senator Simitian, an act relating to personal information.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. This is a modest but significant upgrade to California's security breach notification law, which has been on the books since 2003. If the bill looks familiar, it should. It passed off the floor of the Senate last year, 31-7, obviously a healthy bipartisan vote. Got the bill to the governor's office. There it was vetoed, I think largely based on some misunderstandings about the operation of the bill. I have conferred with the governor's office to their credit, and I am appreciative of their willingness to talk. They've indicated that they think we probably can get to yes with a little more conversation this year, and it's on that basis that I would respectfully ask for an aye vote on the measure, Mr. President.
Any discussion or debate? Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? Aye. Denham? DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Dutton? Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? No. Huff? Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price?
Aye.
Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Aye. Simitian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye. Dutton, no. Huff, no. Cogdill, no. Mr. President, ayes 31, noes 5.
Ayes 31, noes 5. That measure passes. Item 43, Senator Correa. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1139 by Senator Correa, an act relating to state retirement.
Mr. President, Senators, this is a CalPERS annual housekeeping bill sponsored by CalPERS. It makes technical, non-controversial changes to various sections of the government code administered by CalPERS, and it gives local agency employees at CalPERS increased options for saving their retirement years. I ask for an aye vote.
Any further discussion or debate? Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. Aye. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. Aye. Corbett. Aye. Correa.
Aye.
Aye. Cox. Aye. Denham. Dusanier. Aye. Ducheney. Dutton. Flores. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Aye. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. Aye. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price.
Aye.
Aye. Romero. Aye. Runner. Aye. Semidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. Aye. Wiggins. Wolk. Aye. Wright. Aye. Wyland. Aye. Yee. Yee, aye. Mr. President. Onnested, aye. Mr. President, ayes 35, no 0.
Ayes 35, no 0. The measure passes. Item 44. Senator Correa.
Senate Bill 1479 by the Committee on Public Employment and Retirement, an act relating to public employment.
Mr. President and Senators, this is the housekeeping bill for the 1937 Ed County retirement system. Non-controversial changes to that section. This bill has been written in cooperation with stakeholders representing participants of the 37 Act systems. There is no opposition, and I ask for an aye vote.
Any further discussion or debate? Any objection to applying the previous roll call? Ayes 35, noes 0. Measure passes. Item 45, Senator Semidian. Not at his desk. Item 46, Senator Correa. Item 46?
Pass on file.
Pass on file. All right. Senator Strickland, would you like to do item 49? Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1181 by Assemblymember Huber, an act relating to the Political Reform Act of 1974.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, AB 1181 would provide greater transparency in government by reducing the online filing exemptions from $50,000 to $25,000 for state campaign documents and from $5,000 to $2,500 for state lobbying documents. While the exemption may have been logical when the online filing status was created in 1997, the availability of free electronic filing software makes this exemption no longer necessary for state lobbying entity documents and the vast majority of state campaign documents. This bill has received bipartisan support. I ask for your aye vote.
Any further discussion or debate? Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested. Alquist. Aye. Ashburn. No. Calderon. Aye. Cedillo. Aye. Cogdill. No. Corbett. Aye. Correa. Aye. Cox. No. Denham. Dusanier. Aye. Ducheney. Dutton. Flores. Aye. Hancock. Aye. Harmon. Hollingsworth. Aye. Huff. No. Kehoe. Aye. Leno. Aye. Liu. Aye. Lowenthal. Aye. Maldonado. Aye. Negrete McLeod. Aye. Oropesa. Aye. Padilla. Aye. Pavley. Aye. Price.
Aye.
Aye. Romero. Aye. Runner. No. Semidian. Aye. Steinberg. Aye. Strickland. Aye. Walters. No. Wiggins. Wolk. Aye. Wright. No. Wyland. No. Yee. Yee, aye. Onnested, no. Harmon, no.
Call the absentees.
Denham. Ducheney. Dutton. Wiggins.
you want to move the call? Senator Strickland. Moves the call. Okay. Item 15, Senator Orpesa. Secretary, please read. Under
Senate Bill 4.
business.
Senate Bill 4 by Senator Oropesa, an act relating to public resources.
Thank you very much, colleagues. This is a measure that you have seen before and have voted on before. We are back on concurrence from the Assembly. This is the bill that would ban smoking on state parks and beaches. I want to share with you what the amendments were in the Assembly. They exclude certain state dunes, vehicular recreation areas, campsite areas at state beaches, and this also has clarifying language that would assure that enforcement is done with existing resources and not to interfere with the current duties of state parks. Colleagues, we took those amendments in the Assembly. We're back on concurrence, and I would ask once again for your aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested? No. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? No. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? No. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Cox? No. Denham? DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Dutton? No. Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? No. Hollingsworth? No. Huff? No. Kehoe? Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price? Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Smidian? Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Walters? No. Strickland, no. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Wyland? No. Yee? Yee, aye. Kehoe, aye. Negrete McLeod, aye. Smidian, aye.
Call the absentees.
Correa? Denham? Correa, no. Ducheney? Price? Wiggins? Wright. Mr. President?
Ayes 21, noes 13. Measure passes. Members, we will now move to the consent calendar. Secretary, please read.
Senate Bill 1456, Senate Bill 1458, Senate Bill 1137, and Senate Bill 958.
Okay, we'll Secretary, call the roll.
Onnested? Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Calderon? Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? Aye. Denham? DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Dutton? Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Aye. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Pavley? Aye. Price?
Aye.
Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? Aye. Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? Aye. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye.
Absentees, please call the absentees.
Onnested? Aye. Ashburn? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Denham? Ducheney? Dutton? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Padilla? Aye. Wiggins?
Ayes 35, noes 0. That measure passes. Without objection, we will apply this vote to all bills under consent, including the special consent calendar just completed. Senator Lowenthal.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make an announcement that the Senate Committee on Transportation and Housing will be meeting immediately upon adjournment in room 113 to complete the work that we started on SB 1470. It will be a very short meeting. All the presentations have been done. Please come immediately to room 113 upon adjournment.
Thank you. Senator Simitian.
Thank you, Mr. President, members. For purposes of announcement and for purposes of introduction, for purposes of announcement, Mr. President, I just want to remind members of the Budget Subcommittee number 2 that we will be meeting at 10:30 for Budget Subcommittee number 2. And then for purposes of introduction, if I may, Mr. President, I'd like to welcome a group of visitors from the Redwood City School District who are here in the gallery joining us today, not just parents, but trustees Shelley Macer and Elisa McAvoy. Would you join me, please, in welcoming them to the Capitol? They're going to be in Budget Subcommittee number 1 with Ms. Liu very shortly, so welcome them to the Capitol, please.
Lift the call, item 49.
Come on, come on. Come on, Shane. Okay. Denham. Ducheney. Dutton. Dutton, aye. Wiggins. Harmon, no to aye.
Ayes 27, noes 9. Measure passes. Senator Leno.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. For purposes of announcing time and place of meeting of Budget Sub 3, subsequent to the conclusion of the transportation off the floor hearing, close to 10:30 is our projection. 10:30, room 4203, Budget Sub 3.
Thank you. Senator Liu.
Thank you. Just an announcement on Budget Sub 1. We'll meet at 10:15 in room 3191.
Thank you. Senator DeSaulnier.
I want to be left out. Sub 4 will meet, as Senator Leno had mentioned, as soon as transportation and housing are done.
Thank you. Senator Yee.
In memory?
Yes.
Right, thank you very much, Mr. President. Let me note the passing of Rita D'Amico. She, I think, was well known to many civic individuals and elected individuals, city, county of San Francisco and in the Bay Area. She was a cancer survivor. And what was amazing about Rita was the fact that she had her own challenges in her life, many operations, but yet she somehow found the time to visit with veterans who were also having their difficulties. And she also spent a tremendous amount of time donating her services to civic and other organizations. So here was an individual who had tremendous challenges, and yet she found enough time and grace and also assistance to help so many other individuals. And with that, I want to note her passing. And thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator. Please bring the name to the desk so that we may properly memorialize her. Senator Molinado.
Yes, if I can do it, an adjourn in the memory.
Proceed.
I'd like to adjourn in the memory of a friend of mine who just passed away last weekend. His name is Van Snow. He was a doctor. He was a doctor, a veterinarian. And Van Snow is probably one of the best doctors of feet for doctors around the world. and he's given so much, was very involved in our community. He was actually involved with rodeo with all our kids, my kids involved, and we just saw Van 10 days ago. And I got to say to you that it hit me more than anybody else in my community because Van was a pilot. And we knew he'd been flying all his life, and a couple of years ago, he decided to take stunt pilot work. And he went to Borrego Springs to compete. And obviously, Van had an accident. And I think there's anything positive out of the whole thing was that Van said one day, if he passed away doing stunt work on an airplane, that he would have passed away doing what he loved to do most. So all I can say is that the world of veterinarians lost one of the best in the world, and I mean that because people from all over the world would bring their horses to Santa Ynez, California. And all I can say is to his family and to everybody, on behalf of the legislature, may he rest in peace.
Thank you, Senator. Please bring the name to the desk so that we may properly memorialize. Senator Flores, I understand you're bringing item
23.
23. Please read. Secretary, please read.
Senate Joint Resolution 22 by Senator Flores relative to horses.
Thank you, members. This is a resolution that urges Congress to support federal legislation to protect American horses from slaughter for human consumption. California has already taken this step with Proposition 6 in 1998, but there is a sad reality that the slaughter of horse meat is still a widespread problem for California horses being transported out of the state. Obviously, the practice is cruel, plain, and simple. This needs to stop, and we would ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested? Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Calderon? Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? Aye. Denham? DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Dutton? Flores? Aye. Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Hollingsworth? No. Huff? No. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Oropesa? Padilla? Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? Aye. Pavley? Aye. Price?
Aye.
Aye. Romero? Aye. Runner? No. Smidian? Aye. Steinberg? Aye. Strickland? Aye. Walters? No. Wiggins? Wolk? Aye. Wright? Aye. Wyland? Aye. Yee? Yee, aye. Calderon? Aye. Ashburn? No. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Dutton? Dutton, no. Harmon, no. Mr. President, ayes 2707.
Ayes 2707. That resolution is adopted. Senator Maldonado.
Mr. President, if I can do item number 70, it's time sensitive.
Mr. Secretary, please read. 70.
Assembly Bill 604 by Assemblymember De Leon, an act relating to pest control, making an appropriation therefore, and declaring the urge thereof to take effect immediately.
Mr. President and members, AB 604 fixes a technical error contained in AB 281 from last year. The measure passed the Senate last year with a 38-0 vote. AB 604 was by Assemblymember De Leon and Assemblymember Fuller. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion or debate? Secretary, please call the roll.
Onnested? Aye. Alquist? Aye. Ashburn? Aye. Calderon? Aye. Cedillo? Aye. Cogdill? Aye. Corbett? Aye. Correa? Aye. Cox? Aye. Denham? DeSaulnier? Aye. Ducheney? Dutton? Flores? Hancock? Aye. Harmon? Aye. Hollingsworth? Aye. Huff? Aye. Kehoe? Aye. Leno? Aye. Liu? Aye. Lowenthal? Aye. Maldonado? Aye. Negrete McLeod? Aye. Oropesa? Aye. Padilla? I. Papley. I. Price.
Aye.
I. Romero. I. Runner. I. Semidian. I. Steinberg. I. Strickland. I. Walters. I. Wiggins. Wolk. I. Wright. I. Wyland. I. Yee. Yee, aye. Flores, aye. Mr. President, ayes 35, no zero. Did you get that? Oh, Dutton, aye.
Okay, ayes 36, no zero on the urgency. Ayes 36, no zero on the measure. Measure passes. Senator Semidian.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, an update on the earlier announcement. Budget Subcommittee number 2, which will be meeting in room 2040, is slightly delayed. Budget Subcommittee number 2 will be meeting at 10:45 for Budget Subcommittee number 2. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay. Is there, seeing no further business to come before the House, Senator Steinberg, the desk is clear.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. The Senate will reconvene at 1 o'clock on Monday. And, of course, budget subcommittees picking up steam, policy committees picking up steam as we head towards various deadlines. Appreciate everybody ensuring that their schedule has them here during the key days, and wish everybody a nice weekend. Thank you very much.
The Senate will be in recess until 3:30, at which time the adjournment motion will be made. We will reconvene Monday at 1 p.m. Senate stands in recess.